Monarch, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. It's great to see you. I know it's not always comfortable to give interviews in what's not your first language, but I know your English is good, so feel comfortable and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I hope my English is not too bad and you can understand what I have to say. And I need to thank you, Glenn, always helping me in this process in Brazil. We have a very difficult situation here, and I appreciate all the support.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as people know, I live in this country for 17 years. My husband's Brazilian, my children's Brazilian. I have a lot of investment in Brazil and the United States and a free internet, and so it's an extremely important cause of mine. So before we get to this order, just in your own words, remind people of what happened. You had a show on YouTube that was an extraordinary success, the most popular podcast in Brazil by a good distance. You had millions of people watching you every night. You had every major celebrity and politician eager to get on your show. And then overnight, you were completely canceled by the Brazilian media, kicked off every big tech platform. Explain what it is that happened.
So in one of the podcasts, I have defended an idea that is constitutional in the America, that is that the government does not need to have the right to ban any political party. And when I said that, people accused me of being a Nazi because I included the Nazi party in my defense. But I did that because I believe that if we give any opportunity to the government to choose who can have political powers or who can say what they want in the internet, the government will always use this power to abuse it and to ensure that the elite of the political class have maintained his powers.
So, but before I get to the next question, Mark, and that was great. I just want to correct something I said earlier. I think when discussing the Brazilian senator who was just censored on multiple platforms, I think I mentioned that he got roughly 1 million votes in order to win. He's actually from a smaller state. He got around 150,000 votes, and that was sufficient to elect him to the Senate, but he is a senator-elect, and he's now banned from multiple platforms. So, Monarch, you have this program on Rumble that you do after you got banned from YouTube. You took your show to Rumble where you have a very large audience. Although it hasn't become quite as big as it was on YouTube for a variety of different reasons, because including the fact that Rumble's not yet well known in Brazil. But you are on Rumble. You're also on other platforms like Telegram. You're on, I believe, Instagram. And so earlier today, one member of the Brazilian Supreme Court, Alexandre de Moraes, ordered those companies to ban you. Not specific posts of yours, but to prevent you from speaking on those platforms at all, to ban them and to turn over to him any registration data that you provided. When did you learn about this order, and what is it that you know about what the order is?
I just learned about this. You actually was the guy that broke the news for me, so I don't have any access on the legal process included. My channel was censored a time ago, months ago, and in that process, I don't have access to any information. So I believe that in this new process, I will not have any information from the government and not an ability to defend myself. My lawyers cannot find any information that could help me to defend my case. I don't even know what I'm being accused of. This is very unusual. It's not the correct legal process.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to ask you. So presumably, if you were being accused of breaking the rules of the platform, it would be the platform that would notify you, as has happened to many of us. You know, Twitter says, this post is in violation of our rules, so we're going to suspend you for 12 hours, or we need you to take from this post before you get back on. But I would assume, given that this is a judge who is ordering you banned, that he believes that it's because you've broken some kind of a law through things that you're saying on your shows. Do you have any idea what laws you've been broken? Have you ever been told by Brazilian judges or the Brazilian police or any other Brazilian authorities in the last couple months? I'm not talking about during that episode we just discussed. I'm talking about in the last couple months that you are breaking laws or in violation of laws or in jeopardy of being prosecuted?
No, actually, I don't know about any law that can prohibit it, that can punish me for what I have said in the past months. I never said anything that incites violence. I never did support any type of coup or any type of military intervention. Actually, I was always vocal against it. I believe that we can fix this situation in the law with political activism, and I do not believe in violence in any form.
Yeah, so I said earlier for people who aren't familiar with you, who are outside of Brazil, that you're not a member of the Bolsonaro movement. You've never been identified, nor have you identified as a supporter of Jair Bolsonaro or the movement. You've praised some things, you've criticized others. And that's why I kind of identify you as sort of the Brazilian Joe Rogan. You're a fan of Joe Rogan. You were a fan of his before you even started your show. You've talked about how you modeled your show after Joe Rogan. Talk a little bit about that. What is it that you perceive Joe Rogan as doing that is responsible for his success that made you a fan? And how did you try and model your show in a way that kind of used his model?
I think that Joe Rogan have the ability to not being used. He is not. He does not advance a certain agenda. He does not have a political agenda that is controlled by other people or by groups. He's a guy who has political independence, so he can talk about many subjects and give his honest perspective about the stuff that he is seeing or saying. And that, I think that this is what captivated me. I wanted to produce in Brazil a type of media that was not a media of militant activists controlled by some party or some organization. I like the free speech of a common citizen, a common people, common person.
Yeah, and I think your show is in particular known for putting on the furthest left-wing politicians. I think you had a couple of members of the Bolsonaro family themselves, if I recall, and supporters of Jair Bolsonaro's movement, and everybody in between. It was kind of a show that was open to every ideology in every political party. Let me ask you, I did check right before I came on and saw that your account on Twitter has been banned and withheld, at least in Brazil. When I announced... Thanks for watching this clip from System Update. Catch our full shows for free, live weekdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on Rumble, and join our locals community at greenwald.locals.com for all of my written journalism, exclusive after-show Q&As, and more.